Hello everybody, my name is Max Bunny Sparber. I write the Max About Town column for MinPost, and I'm here with Stevie Ray, who runs a comedy club, an improv club, and teaches improv, but you also teach dialect, is that right? And you've done that for quite a while, if I remember.
Yeah, I was a dialect coach for quite a while, and then occasionally through our School of Improv, we do special workshops once a month.
And how long have you been teaching this? How did you get started with it?
Interestingly enough, when I went to college, my very first, the first 3 years in college, I was all set to be a speech pathologist, and that was my degree. And I was going to work in the school system, working with kids with speech disabilities and speaking problems. And a speech, in order to be considered a speech pathology, a pathology means you can't make yourself understood. So a simple dialect is not a pathology if you can make yourself understood, but a heavy dialect where people go, what, that's a problem. And so included in things like stuttering and all of the other neurological or physical problems that inhibit speech do come regional dialects. And as part of the training, we had to learn how to recreate and analyze sound, no matter where it came from.
We're at Kieran's, and obviously I'm drinking some whiskey, so why don't we get started? You I'm guessing, can teach a kind of an Irish dialect,
yes, or
maybe several kinds. Why don't we get started with a few basics on that? What do I need to know about the Irish dialect?
Well, the difficulty of Irish is that they have 4 distinct regional dialects in Ireland, and they will all tell you exactly the difference between them. We as Americans could probably pick up the general differences between the 4, and I'm not skilled enough to say here are all the 4, but generally you're going to have the closed mouth or the open mouth. So there's some parts of Ireland where you're going to be talking like this because they keep their mouth closed, don't you know? And the sing-songiness isn't quite there. But sure, if you're talking to somebody in an odd pub and you're going to have a pint, well, you know, you got to have it there.
Let's pick a sentence in the English language and figure out how to say it in an Irish accent. And something typical for Kieran. So, for example, could I have a pint of beer? Might be a good one.
Might I be having a pint of beer?
When you teach courses, is there anything specific you're focusing on, or are you asking people what they're looking for?
I ask them what they're looking for. Largely, the way I teach anything, if it's a corporate workshop or an improv class or a workshop like the dialect thing, I walk in with, here's what I know how to do, so if you don't have any preference, I'll just start down the list. But I think it's worthless to just start talking to people without first asking, why are you here? And I almost always ask, if there was one thing I could show you that would make this valuable for you to be here, what is it? If it's an actor, they just want to learn it all because at any one time they may have to create it.
Right. And what accents do people generally need on stage? It seems like English and Irish are very common because we do a lot of English theater and a lot of Irish theater, but I know that there's other kinds of accents that tend to show up.
You get Russian and Eastern European if it's a traditional theater that's going to do something like Chekhov or anything like that, and there's a lot of work coming out of the Eastern European area. What else? Irish, British, regional American,
yeah,
is a huge thing.
I wrote a play once that was set in Baltimore, but I think that may be the only one ever. Seems like New York accents are probably pretty common, and Southern accents are going to be very common. Are there any others that you wind up having to...
New England, like the Bostonian, comes into play. And funny enough, some people do want to really capture the harsher Minnesotan, Midwestern type of thing, you know, the Iron Range type of thing, because they're not from here.
What do I start out needing to know? What would you...
Get things to the front of the mouth.
Okay.
Get a little bit more sing-songy, so you combine the articulation with the tone.
A little tura-lura kind of thing?
Yes, a little bit up and down type of thing, like that. So try saying, so I. Yeah, so a Minnesotan would go, so I. They go, so I. Yes. And now you try exaggerating it even more, because the more you can exaggerate, the better you can control. You even heighten the so and lower the I. So I.
All right. So I.
Yeah. And what's funny is that when you go to Ireland, that wouldn't stand out at all. We think, wow, this is really weird, but so I don't know what fatigue of I go, always exaggerating, and then you back it down to more normal. So now try to run everything together into a really long sentence without even taking a breath right now, and just don't use your articulators for more than a flutter.
All right, I'll try and do that then.
So say something like, I'm sitting here at Kieran's and I'm having a pint of beer.
I'm sitting here at Kieran's and having a pint of beer.
Right. Now try to get that pint to be more of a I.
Aye.
Pint of beer.
Pint of beer.
Yeah, sitting here at Ireland's having a pint of beer.
Sitting here at Kieran's having a pint of beer.
I think that's great. I think that's really good. Right there, you had it.
Well, I am Irish American.
There you go.